mindsets. Robin and I are so thrilled that you're here with us. We have an incredible, incredible guest that just brings joy to my heart. And so we ask that if you hear anything you need to check on, consult the professionals. We are not legal or tax experts, so consult those people should you need it. And with that being said, I am so grateful to welcome Catherine Bell to our show. She is a freaking powerhouse, and she is just one of those people that brings joy. Anytime I'm around her, I was so giddy just getting on here because I knew that she was just going to be radiating joy and love and happiness through this computer, and she is.
And
So
she has done that. Oh my God. It's contagious.
yes, so you are involved in all the things. I mean, you are doing big things. You are a powerhouse. And I've been sitting here thinking about this for days on, gosh, where do we even take this?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know of anything you're not involved in. And so I'm great. Yeah. So gosh, you have an investment group and you've got all kinds of different projects. You have a philanthropic, company that you've put together because you're no matter what it is, you're all about impact and making others lives better than when you found them. And so I love what you're doing for children. I love what you're doing for adults. Gosh, and even for other business people. So I'm just really grateful that you're here and we can dive into your story.
Yeah.
So first of all, thank you for having me. And I can't, oh my gosh, the minute that we met each other standing at the elevator, like completely fell in love with you and keep falling it more and more in love with you, like every second. I mean, both of you. I mean, this is like
fall in love with me too.
We're having a little love fest. Everybody, all these
I
ladies.
love that.
The hearts are just
I have got to figure that out.
That's how much love there is. Zoom gets it.
Yes.
So thank you for having me here. But bigger than this, thank you for putting this on for all these women, because that is my passion, is women. Because let's face it, if we actually look statistically, women are whole brain thinkers, right? And we make better investors. We make better business owners. Companies, it's actually been proven that companies that have women on boards of directors actually are more profitable and generate more revenue than companies that don't have women. Like, that is interesting, those statistics, because we are whole brain thinkers. And we were talking about this, men are like waffles. They focus on one individual thing, which is awesome. And women are like spaghetti. All our conversations touch everything. And that is what I've created and what I continue to create, because everything touches everything.
Yeah.
So my company is Titan Impact Group. And my vision for our company is that we're the sentinels of the American dream, and that we leave every person, property, and community better than we found them. Right. And so what is the American dream? Right. So the American dream is being successful entrepreneurs, being successful business owners, creating multiple streams of passive income. So we have that oxygen, because money is like oxygen. The more we have, the easier it is to breathe. And the more we have, the easier we can breathe, the bigger the difference in the world we can make. And I believe that everybody is really inherently wants to make a difference. Right. And so when we can tap into that and we have the resources to be able to do that, oh my goodness, the impact. Because if you think about women, right, and who we are as women, a man gives us a sperm, we make a baby. You give us a house, we'll turn it into a home. You bring some food, we'll turn it into a beautiful feast. Like, you give us, you make an introduction, all of a sudden we've got friends, we've got sisters, we've got built communities, we build societies. I mean, it's what we do. We just build. That's who we are as women. So that's, that is just, it's me unleashed inside of like who we naturally are as women. And I want women to embrace that and embrace who they are. Right. It's the teaching women that SRA, same rules apply, right? What it takes for us to be extraordinary wives and extraordinary moms, creating these whole well-rounded human beings, right? So that all we want is our kids to go into the world and be responsible, contributing members to society, right? And all that it takes to pour into them to create that, it's the exact same skills that it takes to be an amazing investor and business owner.
Mm-hmm.
That is so true. I mean, just pouring love and caring and being authentic, showing that you care. And that is the one thing I want for my kids to grow up to be good people that want to do great things for others as well. I mean,
Yes.
that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. And so it's, do you want me to share my story? I don't know.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. Yeah.
So, I just walked on fire at a Tony Robbins event, and it was like,
So good.
it's like I saw Oprah do it 20 years ago with Tony Robbins. I was like, I want to do that. Anyways, I did it. But the magic behind it that I realized is that it actually was nothing compared to what I've been through. And so that was a huge awakening and aha for me, like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then it brought me the magnitude of what I've been through and honoring it rather than avoiding it. And it's only been this past year that I've been sharing my story because I don't like my story. And it's made a huge impact for others, which is why I choose to share it. So I'm Canadian and was, my birth mother was 14 when she got pregnant with me, 15 when she had me. And I was in and out of more homes than you can possibly count, went to 13 different schools and didn't learn to read till I was in the 8th grade. But I got straight A's because I learned very, very quickly. They don't want you to think, they only want you to get the right answer.
That's right.
And I was very good at getting the right answer. And so that's a huge piece of like how we move through life. I ended up raising my brothers. I've been working since I was 13 to make sure that we could all eat. Eventually, I ended up getting my brothers adopted by their fathers. And I was headed down a really horrible trajectory. Like we're talking drug dealers, there was prostitutes. I mean, horrible, horrible things. And I knew that if something didn't change, my life was going to end up really bad, really fast. Mm-hmm. So I actually ended up getting myself adopted when I was 16. And that's a whole story in itself. And I'm writing a book and that'll be in there, which is a deeply moving story. And I'm forever grateful for my adopted parents. I feel like they're my angels. That allowed me to graduate, go to college, and then travel the world. Right. And so that pivotal time in my life was absolutely critical, moving forward. And I'll share in a moment why that matters so much. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I want all of you to be thinking about, like, what are those pivotal things that happened in your life? And I promise you there's a common thread between all of them, which I believe God intentionally had you go through so that is a calling on your life, like why he has you here, what your purpose is. So listen to my story from that, but for yourself, right? So fast forward, travel the world. I ended up eventually doing an obscene amount of volunteering, which I love to volunteer. I love to be that contribution. And I met my husband, who's American, and we got married in 2001. He had a dream. And so we came down, I came to the US, took his dream, turned it into a multi-million-dollar company, later sold it. So I came to this country at 26 with nothing. By the time I was 30, we were millionaires.
Wow.
Right? Mm-hmm. I love this country. Oh my gosh. So if people don't, right, it really is. Like, if you're not crushing it here, what the heck? It's everywhere. Okay, so really passionate about this. Like, you can create anything here. With self-education. And I'm not talking traditional education. It was all self-education and mentors and walking in the footsteps of people who have been there, done that before me. And I just literally had to walk in the same steps and I would get similar results. And I did. So, and I keep doing that. So fast forward, during that time, of course, we wanted to have a family, discovered we couldn't have babies. And it was actually at church, in a little church bulletin, that we discovered something called foster adopt. And what it is, it's children who are in the foster care system that become adoptable because the parental rights have been severed. And so I prayed and prayed and prayed for years and years and years, going through all the fertility stuff that really sucked and messed my body up, messed my emotions up. I was like, I'm not doing this because it was going to end my marriage because it was so insane.
Yeah.
And I got literally what I prayed for. Talk about God giving us our heart's deepest desires. I wanted a baby boy and a baby girl who looked like me.
Oh.
And long story short, that is exactly what I got. I got twins.
Oh,
4 months old. We went through the whole process of getting approved to be adopted. 9 months after the whole process was completed, I got the call. I'll never forget that day. I remember the sun streaming in the window. I remember standing in my kitchen, like a baby boy and a baby girl.
Mm.
I only missed one of the bonding periods. Like, how magical is that? Like, if that's not God, I don't know what is.
Mm-hmm.
So my twins are now 19. My son's serving as a Marine over in Japan. My daughter's here still floating around. I mean, just truly like a huge gift. So super happy to be a mom, was super happy to be able to have the gift of being a stay-at-home mom. I still had my companies who were running those, but being a stay-at-home mom was a big, big piece of it because I feel like God gave me these gifts. Anyways, fast forward, Sarah and Jordan were in kindergarten, first grade, and Christopher ended up getting really, really, really sick, which now forced me to actually have to go back to work. So I was really upset and actually pretty angry about that because I feel like my dream of being a stay-at-home mom had been ripped away. But as women, we do what we got to do.
Yeah, we
right?
do.
Put on my big girl panties and get to work, quite literally. So ended up going and working for a company. He was doing 2 million in revenue annually. In 3 years, I took him to 13 million. Then went and worked for another company. He was doing 150,000 in revenue, took him to over 20 million in revenue in 3 years, and really got clear for myself that I was done building other people's companies.
Yeah.
I wanted to build mine. This is ridiculous that I'm doing this for other people and not us. And so in that time period, understanding that, the average millionaire has 7 streams of passive income. And how many did I have? And how many did I want? Right. So through investing. And so I ended up starting my own hedge fund. It was a vacation rental hedge fund, and then was teaching people here in the Phoenix area how to invest. Ran a program called the Flipping Females.
I love that.
And we flipped about 500 properties here, which was a lot of fun, partnering on every single one, because I love that. Again, we collaborate, right? Like, I love that. So had done residential development, commercial development, just done a ton of things. And then in 2018, with the Flipping Females, we're also talking to HGTV about potentially doing a show with us. And then in 2018, my husband died unexpectedly. And it was horrible and it was tragic and it was awful. And which obviously sent us into a tailspin. But what happened was I had created 13 streams of passive income for our family. And it was because of that really getting to the core of my being that, money is like oxygen. The more we have, the easier it is to breathe. Like, it gave us the breathing room to be able to basically, dive into the grief. And what I knew is that the only way around it was through it. And that was that was worse than walking through fire.
Yeah.
That was a horrible, horrible experience. And I would never wish it on anybody.
Oh, I have chills just thinking about
Well, I have tears.
It was hard. It was hard on my twins. They were 14 at the time. So, twins, hormones. Oh my gosh. And we went through it. What choice did we have? Put on my big girl panties and go work and dive in. And, just had to figure out like what we're going to do. I ended up actually shutting down all those companies because what I got was like, none of that actually mattered, and that's when I came to that everything that I did leads to compassionate capitalism, adding as many commas into our bank accounts as we can to make the biggest difference that we can, and to leave every person, property, and community better than we found them. Right. And what I got clear about at some point, it was that one day my babies were going to leave and I was way too young to be a widow and live alone. I really had it on my heart to build a life with somebody and just the magic and all of that. And here I was like a widow, like, what the heck? No, 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 no. And so what I feel like what God showed me was like, I had to give up my picture. And my picture was that I was going to be married to one man my whole life. Right. And here I was really, really, really angry with him that he honored his vows till death do us part. Like, really, dude, you couldn't have waited longer. You know, like, come on. So he did honor all his vows, but seriously. So I really had to get straight with myself. Like, was I going to be alone for the rest of my life? Because that was my picture. One husband, that was it. And it was like, but the vision was that I was going to live this extraordinary life with somebody loving and creating. And so I had to like sort through my crap, and the grief and the pain and the emotions. And, so some girlfriends, like, again, women, I love it, encouraged me to be courageous and brave and get out there and start dating again. And only this time there were dating apps. What the heck?
All right.
Like, that wasn't a thing 20 some odd years
No, it
ago.
wasn't.
So I did like this whole new like learning and creating a profile and
right.
And I was clear that, like, clearly I wasn't going to find anybody on this, but it was nice to be entertained and, go have adult conversations. So for me, it was like, I just started dating with the purpose of leaving every man better than I found him, and by doing that, like, the world doesn't need more broken men or more broken people. Let's just leave them better than we found them. Leave them acknowledged, leave them loved, and so that's what I did. And I had lots and lots, lots of dates. And that's a whole other book in itself. And then I ended up meeting Steve. And what was powerful about that is that for a woman, it's really clear to understand it's our job to create the vision for our relationship. And when the right man comes along, men are mission driven, right? When we have a vision big enough, they turn our vision into their mission.
Yeah.
Right. So when we like are really clear and keep on track with that, the power of that, I mean, it's unstoppable. And all the men were freaked out by my vision because it was way too big. And we'll get to the rest of that. But Steve leaned in, and he keeps leaning in, and he keeps doing everything to like help have my vision come to life and to fruition. And so here we are creating, everything there is to create. And so, we're still in the middle of it. And inside of building our company, here's the other thing I want women to get is like my journey of being an entrepreneur and an investor. There was nothing pretty about it. There was nothing clean about it. There was no straight line. It's very messy, very twisty, turvy, just like spaghetti. Everything touched everything. But the thing I want everybody to get is to give yourself permission to try lots of different things, right? And to get yourself sorted out and learn from every single one. So I did buy and hold. I discovered I don't like tenants and toilets. I did wholesaling. It's a one shot, money, but I like the passive, I love the fix and flip because of the before and after. Did the vacation rentals. I love the, multiple streams of passive income, but it turns out I don't like guests and toilets either. Right. And so getting through all of that, like for me, the two things I love is being the bank and renting dirt. So I have mobile home parks because I rent dirt. I don't want any of the structures. And I love being the bank. The bank is the safest position to be in any real estate investing transaction. So, I buy and sell notes off Wall Street and put all my investors in those and create passive streams of income. And then, of course, we have the mobile home parks and, lots of other alternative investments, creating, again, multiple streams for everybody. So it's learning a couple of things as women and men too. Like when we collaborate, the power of collaborating is huge. We've heard of OPM, using other people's money, using OPT, other people's time, other people's talents, other people's assets, like whatever that is, finding ways to link arms with others who are successful in whatever those areas are, bringing value to that relationship and to the table. And now everybody wins, right? Like, we don't have to do it all alone. And that was the other thing about having my company and later selling it, is like, would I rather be 100% owner of one company or a small percentage owner of lots of companies, right?
That-
Again, creating
that
multiple
option.
streams of passive income. So it's thinking outside of the box. And as women, that's what we do, because it's not about resources, it's about resourcefulness. And we as moms and wives know that. Like, we all go through periods of our life that it's like, wait a sec, how do I get this done? Or who can help me get this done? I mean, it's what we do. It's what we create. It's why I love women so much. So fast forward again, creating, you always hear, you got to know your why, right? Like, what is your why? And for me, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier. There's a common thread in our lives. And so here's what was given to me. And I truly believe this was given to me by God, is that I created my nonprofit called Bell Community Empowerment Foundation. And what it is that there's over 500,000 children in the U.S. foster care system. 350,000 are available for adoption today, and it costs less than $1,000 to adopt.
Wow.
Crazy, right? And so it's costing taxpayers billions of dollars. Sorry. I'm bursting out everywhere.
You're perfect.
So it's costing taxpayers billions of dollars to keep these kids in foster care, right? But on their 18th birthday, if they haven't been adopted, they experience Black Trash Bag Day. And what that means is on their 18th birthday, they're handed a black trash bag. They're told to put all their belongings in it, and then they're out on the streets, homeless. 80% of the people who are homeless came from foster care. These kids end up drugs, prostitution, trafficked, and incarcerated. We all know the homelessness and human trafficking is a huge epidemic that's happening. We have the ability to stop that. So it's costing taxpayers billions on the back end. So here's what was given to me, is that there's more than 350,000 congregations in this country. If each church takes on finding one family, just one, to adopt one child, we can have this done in our lifetime, ladies. How cool is that, right? But more importantly, like, what if 1% of those 350,000 children, that'd be 1%, that'd be 3,500 kids that grow up to be 3,500 adults, just like me, that are so grateful from having a family and being loved, that they go out and they make a huge difference in the world. Imagine the ripple effect and impact from that, right? So people are like, how can I get involved? I mean, you can donate to my nonprofit, because we use the funds to help fund churches and these adoption agencies to get the word out and help these families, or if it's called to you, like, you can literally Google adoption agencies that specialize in FOST Adopt, is what it's called, FOST Adopt. And there's agencies that literally will work on your behalf with foster care to help, like, pair you with the perfect child that God has created for you, right? And the other piece is that most people think that, families just want babies. It's not true. We were going through this whole process with 20 other families, and all of them wanted kids that were 3 years old and older. They didn't want to do the baby thing. And a lot of them just wanted teenagers because they were in their 50s. They had something to contribute. And so starting with a baby at 50, that doesn't make sense. Still could be that home for these kids, these teenagers, provide that mentoring, that love, that stability, that now they literally have a forever home for the rest of their lives, that place to come back to, so that, mentoring, we know, happens throughout our entire lives.
Yes.
So and yes, there's single parents who are able to adopt. Like, get outside of the box, right? If you have a heart and this calls to you, seriously, like, get off your behind and make it happen. Like, you are that miracle for somebody that was just like me, right? There's no shoulda, woulda, coulda, and I'll get all that up on the website. But anyway, very passionate about this. But my point being, again, like, is life happening to me, or is life happening for me? So you can see all through my life, literally, looked like life was happening to me, and it sucked. It sucked, but really it was happening for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes we just don't see it as we're going through it. Our vision of how things should go are never, God's plan for us. It never works out that way. Things always, and sometimes we don't see it at the time, and sometimes it takes a long time to see it. And I'm sure some people don't, but I've had to sit there and kind of pivot and adjust and take the great things from the experiences and the things that have happened through my life so that I can go forth and be stronger and better and focus on the great things, because the mind is such a powerful thing. And
Right.
the way that you I guess the way you see the experiences you've gone through and the way that you choose to move forward is really what matters.
Yes. And exactly that. Like, that's the we're talking about, when we met, the horrible things that we've been through, and getting ourselves sorted out, and going through an exercise that literally, like, get yourself complete, right? Like, rather than dragging it around like luggage, like, what did you learn? What worked? What didn't work? What can you glean from it? Who do you need to forgive? Forgive yourself, forgive the other person. It isn't to let them off the hook. It's for you. It's for our own peace of mind.
For yourself.
So we can take those nuggets of gold or pearls of wisdom and use them for making better choices moving forward. Right. But as long as we hold on to the emotional baggage, like, we can't move forward. Yep. What is the point of that? Right. And we're here to do something amazing. That's what we're here for. Right. So
everyone is here for something amazing.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You get to be that miracle for 1, for 10, for 1,000,000. Who cares? But make the difference you're here to make. Add as many commas to your bank account as you can to make that difference. And I'm not saying for everybody to start a nonprofit. Like, whatever that passion is, I guarantee there's a nonprofit out there doing it. So go and support them. Right? Bring that best there, whatever that is. But we're all here to make a difference. Right?
I love what you are about, and I love the fact that you have been privileged enough by just grit and hard work to create incredible wealth, but you weren't, what's the word, satisfied in that area, if you will. You knew there was more. And, God's best awaits for us when we align ourselves with his will.
Right.
And sometimes we can have amazing lives and have done great things, but the Lord prepares us for far better. And we have to be willing to receive that. But you don't really receive that until you've walked some tough stuff.
Yeah.
That's part of what gets us ready for the other side. So,
and getting to go with a happy heart, because let me just share one more thing. So inside of, creating all of this, one of my companies, we were working on something and we were going to take it public. And when they came back to me and they did the valuation on the company, they said that when we go public, it's going to be worth $1.2 billion. It would have made me Arizona and Canada's first self-made female billionaire.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, oh my gosh, and super excited to have a platform to stand on, to shout from the mountaintops about these children in the foster care system. It's really all I wanted the platform for. And due to some very unscrupulous people, that it didn't happen. There was, had to deal with. Anyway, that is what it is. But my point being in sharing that is when we get the no with a happy heart, and trust that God's got a bigger yes. Right. So even inside of that loss and all the other losses of Christopher's death, not being able to have babies, like all of those, when I just really got myself sorted out and did the emotional work, did the spiritual work, and got the no with a happy heart and trusted that God's got a bigger yes. Right. Like, oh my gosh, if he said no to 1.2 billion, oh my gosh, that's going to be
yes to
happening. Right? So it's like, how amazing can life be if we just trust that there's a bigger yes coming? But we got to get ourselves we have to do the work.
That's right. You got to do the work.
Right? So that we can get the bigger yes.
Yes, and I think those experiences and the things we go through our life, even though some of them are really hard, is God's way of preparing us for those
Right.
things also.
That's right.
Right. Yes.
That's right.
That's what gives us that grit, that determination, that perseverance. But could I have lied down and just been like, oh, poor me, and lived a sucky life? Like, yeah, I could have. Would I have had agreement with it? Yep, absolutely. Would everybody been like, yeah, I totally can get that. But no, there is
There's
something
more.
far more extraordinary. And I just wanted to live a magnificent life. So it's up to me to make that happen. It's up to you. It's up to us. Like, all of us.
Love that.
I love that. Live a magnificent life. I'm writing it down.
I think I will too.
Well,
like
we have here's my live a magnificent life. You can't really see it, but it's there in red.
that.
We have had just the most amazing conversation with you, Catherine. Thank you so much for
I think we could do this for
just
5
sharing. Your story is gosh, it is multifaceted and it is powerful. And I know. Yes. Yes.
And we want to be able to encourage others so that they are brave enough to take that step, and the potential impact, and for them to go out and be courageous enough to go and do the same thing.
That's right. Believe in themselves.
Yes.
And know, like, you're going through this so that you can be an encouragement to somebody else who's about to go through it.
Yes. You never know how your story is going to impact somebody else.
Never know.
Yep.
So
let it be brave, share.
Yes. So share with our audience today how they can get in touch with you, because I know people are going to want to reach out to you.
I love it. So you can go to my website, titanimpactgroup.com. You can contact me there. There's a ton of podcasts and radio show, TV, all the fun stuff.
You are all the stuff, girl. When I saw that,
I was like,
oh my gosh.
Like, again, if anybody is called to bring this message to your church, talk to your church leaders. Talk to everybody. Like, really, people do not need to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars adopting kids. They're like, seriously, it's $1,000. Like, come on. We can get this done. We can get this done for these kids.
$1,000.
Yes.
Crazy.
I've not heard that, I mean, that one, I've heard so many things from you today, but that is hard to imagine.
But it's not. I've done it.
I mean, that's real.
Yeah.
That's
real.
And
again, find an adoption agency that specializes in this. Don't go to the foster care system directly. Don't do that. Don't give yourself that brain damage. The agencies have already paved that path, and they get to be that piece for you. They are your who for being able to have your children. So which leads me to, I want to leave you with 2 things. I love homework, right?
Okay, yes, do it.
I love books. If you couldn't tell.
Yeah,
books,
I can tell.
Tiffany.
Books and crowns or tiaras.
Right? I know Courtney's got her crown. We all need crowns.
It's still sitting right here.
So I want to give this to everybody, right? Because it's about self-education. I'm not talking about traditional education. And this was a huge piece of what got me where I am and continues to move me forward, right? Because who I am is insufficient for the task. So I need to continue to grow myself into everything that God created me to be. So it's one of my favorite books. So it's The Science of Getting Rich. Okay. And here's the deal, right? Is that if you understand that if you mirror and mimic what successful people do, you should get the same, if not similar results. I mean, it really is that simple. It's kind of ridiculous. Every single millionaire that I know and a couple of friends who are billionaires have all done what I'm about to tell you to do. So it's a teeny tiny little book. It takes about 2 hours to read. So this is the homework. Seriously, if you're serious about adding commas so that you can make a huge impact in the world, is you read through the book once. It takes about 2 hours. Then every day for 90 days, you read chapters 4, 7, 11, and 14. So chapters 4, 7, 11, and 14 every single day for 90 days. If you miss a day, you got to start all over again. Now, here's how I do it is that, and I still do it, and I've, done it a lot, is because I didn't, I still struggle with reading comprehension. So we're resourceful, right? I use Audible. Yay! Thanks for that, Audible. I love that app. And so because my brain works so fast, I listen to all my books on speed 1.5 to 2. But every day getting ready in the morning, like as I'm getting ready, I'll listen to those 4 chapters. And so as I'm listening to those 4 chapters, I'm literally like priming myself for the day. So my unconscious mind goes to work on making sure all of this happens. So I promise you, the end of 90 days, you will not be the same person at all. My second favorite book is this right here.
Oh my God.
Right?
Girl.
Like game changer.
Love this one.
Yeah.
Love it.
So when successful people are all saying the same thing, like 2 books here, Courtney, I know you've got this book. We all have this book. This changed my life forever. So ladies, it's not about like, how do I get this done? It's who. And given that we are relationship builders, community builders, like, again, hello, success leaves clues. Like because we connect and build those relationships, you are only one who away from having whatever God's put on your heart.
That's right.
So being brave to speak up and talk to everybody, because you never know who the who's are.
That is right.
Right?
Who needs a who.
Anyway, we could talk for hours, but I just have to say before we go, I love you both. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for letting me be here with you.
Thank you for being such an inspiration and for just emitting joy and love out to the world, because we need more of that.
Yeah, we do.
Right? Like living out loud.
Yes.
Unleashing our love for the world and let them sort it out.
I'm writing that down. That's a great title. Living out loud.
Unleash your love.
Yes. Yes. Catherine, thank you so much for joining us today. Your words of wisdom and your journey, it's so powerful. And I hope that it, pricks somebody's ears and, sparks them to want to go and take action and do something and embrace their stories, embrace their paths and go on, take the great from it and go do amazing things.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And if it does, share it with all of us. Yes. So we can continue to be encouraged to, keep sharing our stories.
Absolutely. Yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.